Thank you so much for joining. On this channel, we will be discussing and showing videos on a wide variety of topics and things that I hope you will find interesting, fascinating, informative, useful, engaging, inspiring, fun, and worth your time. Some of the topics will be cars, vehicle reviews and impressions, music compilations, phone reviews, at-home food preparation and cooking, handmade illustrations and graphs, body contouring and sculpting, hair removal, custom creations, how-to videos with designs and sketches with a walkthrough, compilation videos, and much more. As such, to easily navigate this channel, just click on the playlist tab, sit back, and enjoy. Thank you so much once again for watching, and please, if you may, consider commenting, liking, and subscribing. Hello and thank you so much for tuning in. The car you see here is the all-new, legendary, unstoppable, mystifying, and all-conquering 2025 BMW M5, a car that has been the benchmark of the super sedan arena. For its 7th generation, the BMW M5 is now a plug-in hybrid high-performance vehicle. In this video, I will discuss the new design language, the appearance of the exterior and interior, the plug-in hybrid fuel economy and efficiency, the new technology, seating, dimensions, performance, a trip down memory lane, a quick poll to see which year is most loved, pricing and comparisons to its rivals, how much tire thread will be vaporized, along with some other useful info and tips, and most certainly, I have not forgotten the baby elephant in the room. It's astonishing and eyebrow-raising, massive weight gain. Please note, due to so many changes, many of the highlights in this video will have a humble hint of personal opinion to substantiate its implementation. The 2025 BMW M5 is a dominating force in the automobile sector. It has been since its inception, and this version raises many questions. To many, most questions in this video will conjure feelings of heresy and sacrilege. As its name indicates, this vehicle is all about speed and performance, along with road presence and seating for at least 4. Based on the G95 series, the new 2025 BMW M5 has a dynamic chassis that has been significantly stiffened, updated and revamped drivetrain and powertrain borrowed from, and shared with, the BMW XM, reinforced underpinnings, and specific body panels that are wider and more pronounced than the regular 5 Series. Compared to the most potent BMW 5 Series, the M5 has been substantially updated and upgraded throughout, giving it a more subdued, raucous, refined and mature, intimidating and menacing look. The cabin is also more like an executive-class racing seat with bolstering for decades to come. For this model year, the front-engine all-wheel drive BMW M5 will come in the classic sedan form, G90, as well as a touring, also known as a station wagon, G99 form. For its size and weight class, this will ensure a sensible and settled driving experience which will be both, relatively, fuel-efficient and reactive. Hopefully, although this new M5 will set new standards in many sedan comparisons, it will simultaneously alienate purists due to its powertrain and unimaginable weight gain. Could it stand out in a sea of regular sedans? Absolutely. Could it be considered unapologetically handsome? Maybe. Could it be considered quick? Probably. Could it be considered nimble, light, sprightly, quick on its feet, and a track attack monster? Most likely not, at least not in my opinion. Personally, I have owned several BMW vehicles over the years and still do. As such, I'll reserve my impressions until after it is seen, driven, and then calculate its capabilities firsthand. Until then, we can all assume. But seriously, over 1,000 pounds of weight gain? That is a lot. A lot. Will this weight gain also allow for lively on-road characteristics? Will it be agile and nimble and point and shoot in the manner that the E46 was? Will it transition through the chicanes and slalom with ease? Will BMW E39 owners even consider buying this car? How many tires will be shredded on the road due to its sheer mass? Here are the weights of all previous BMW M5 cars from its inception until now. I'll also include factory claim 0 to 60 times as well. There is a famous saying by Colin Chapman in which he always said, "Simplify, then add lightness." This is what made Lotus cars so quick, fast, responsive, nimble, and inherently have that wonderful point-and-shoot disposition. Simplify, then add lightness was his famous line, which was also followed by a motorsports motto. Adding power makes you faster on the straights. Subtracting weight makes you faster everywhere. This is the exact opposite of what BMW has done with this new M5. The plug-in hybrid system is exponentially more complex than a conventional setup, and the 1,000-pound weight gain has gone in the opposite direction of losing weight to become lighter. So, things were not simplified, lightness was not considered, becoming faster everywhere else other than the straights was not done. Now, for a little semi-controversial, heretic, and sacrilegious commentary. With the ethos of BMW's M division and its incredible motorsports dominating history, was this car made for the drivers, or was it made to pander to a shift in environmental politics? I am not saying anything to criticize or judge or defend decisions made by anyone. I have no say on this, and this is a controversial topic, but it is a question that begs an answer. Is all this stuff necessary or justified? For instance, here are some wild scenarios for an alternate 2025 BMW M5. Scenario 1. Could BMW have tuned the formidable S68 engine to 630 to 650 horsepower, dropped the weight of the vehicle by 100 pounds overall, and foregone all the PHEV stuff? In turn, this would make the car far lighter, more agile, and have better fuel efficiency since there wouldn't be a heavy battery pack to lug around. Scenario 2. Could BMW have popped in an inline-6 with 520 to 550 horsepower, paired with a smaller 8 kilowatt-hour battery mated to two separate 100 to 120 horsepower motors for each of the rear tires? This would yield about 700-ish horsepower and weigh considerably less. Besides, how many people will charge the M5 to full before driving it, versus how many people will continuously drive 1,000 pounds of extra mass and use significantly more gasoline to lug that mass around? This will surely be far less fuel efficient than having a conventional setup that weighs over 1,000 pounds less. Here's another concept. Will this decision really, truly, honestly, genuinely, make a dent in the grand scheme of things, as BMW surely doesn't sell 300,000 to 700,000 units of the M5 per year? So what is the real reason why the iconic M5 was given the plug-in hybrid treatment when they could have popped it into a higher volume selling vehicle to cater to the agencies that require this? To go off tangent for a brief moment, and purely for reference, in order to elaborate on this, please read the article on why the 2025 M5 is far cheaper to buy than a regular M3, especially in Ireland. In a nutshell, basically, due to its plug-in hybrid setup, it allows the new M5 to emit 37 grams of CO2 per kilometer, while the new M3 emits about 228 grams of CO2 per kilometer. As such, they are taxed very differently. This could also explain the recent downsizing in the Mercedes C63. Another reason is also because due to the WLTP regulations, the plug-in M5 theoretically can get 1.7 liters per 100 kilometers, while the new M3 needs 10.1 liters for the same 100 kilometers. Please, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments section on this topic. Now, let's change gears and start off with a short trip down memory lane. What made each BMW M5 so special and so incredible to leave such a heartfelt connection for us to embrace? Starting with the E28 in 1984, a well-designed, fast, four-door sedan was presented to the world. It has a naturally aspirated 3.5-liter inline six-cylinder engine, which was derived from the BMW M1 supercar. This engine made a respectable 280 horsepower, and it was mated to upgraded and enhanced brakes, a revised suspension, sportier seats, and a firmer ride. It was a gentleman's get-to-work-quicker kind of vehicle. The next installment came as the E34 BMW M5. It may not be loved as much as other generations, but it is still a magnificent car, especially for its time. For this version, it was the last hand-built M5, and BMW increased the 3.5-liter engine to 3.6 or 3.8 liters, while also offering a station wagon option as well, making it fast, sporty, and more family-friendly. Next came the much-loved, much-desired, and proportionally visually appealing BMW M5 of all, the phenomenal E39. It featured a new, big and powerful, mighty and smooth, 4.8-liter V8 engine that gifted us with 400 horsepower and 369 pound-feet of torque, Porsche-like performance and room for four full-grown adults. As time marched on and competitors offered high horsepower, high-priced rivals, BMW sucker-punched many with the introduction of a high-revving, Formula One Motorsports-derived V10 engine for its new E60 M5. The sonorous sounds it made were absolutely intoxicating. While it was capable of lashing out a full 500 horsepower, it would operate in 400 horsepower mode, until a button was pressed which released an additional 100 horses. This helped its 0 to 60 time come in at just 4.1 seconds. Next up was the F10 version, and it joined the strong and sure-footed 4.4-liter V8 with an air-sucking twin-turbo system. This was the first time an M5 was not naturally aspirated, and the last time the M5 was just rear-wheel drive. Compared to the raucous and brash, raw, and eager to detonate E60 M5, the F10 M5 was more refined, polished, mature, and polite. It now offered 550 horsepower from this adaptation of the V8. For the G30 and F90 era, BMW realized that its rivals from Audi and Mercedes-Benz were adapting an all-wheel drive system in their super sedans, so it was only fair and proper for BMW to do the same. For this generation, BMW switched to the now standard all-wheel drive system, but with BMW's specialized outlook of what this should mean, yes, it was all-wheel drive, but BMW made sure it is rear-biased, and with a certain mode, it could be rear-wheel drive when desired. This version also gifted us with the 616 horsepower, 3.3 second to 60 competition variant, and the limited 626 horsepower, less than 3 seconds to 60 CS variant as well. At last, the new 2025 G90 M5. It weighs over 1,000 pounds, more than the car it replaces, while simultaneously having over 700 horsepower and over 700 pound-feet of torque. In regards to trims, the BMW M5 for 2025 is only presented as a sedan thus far. There will be a station wagon version, and in the future, a more focused competition version will be released as well. The feature-rich BMW M5 comes with just about all the standard and optional equipment one would need, except for a few small add-ons, such as carbon fiber roof, ceramic brakes, and the BMW M driver's package. For the exterior details, the 2025 BMW M5 has received a comprehensive, brutally aggressive, and attention-grabbing appearance. The functional bumpers, widened fenders, and rear all scream strength and performance. In every angle, the car looks strong, fast, and menacing. The color palette will also visually enhance the road presence this car will surely always have. The new look is menacingly aggressive, tough, and muscular. It will command attention, both while parked and while driving. Air is channeled in from the front to cool the engine and plug-in hybrid systems. The wheel arches are also flared out, giving it a more broad and square-shouldered look, appended by side skirts. These new arches are 3 inches wider in the front and 1.9 inches wider in rear, compared to the conventional 5 Series. Many of the driver assistance systems are housed within the now semi-enclosed kidney grille. As such, the full supply of incoming air is redirected to the front air dam to feed the radiators. The new M5 will come in 10 different colors, and any of them will stand out when connected to this super sedan. As can be seen in the photos and videos, this car is demanding attention and commanding respect. As for the wheels, all new M5s will have 3 separate staggered wheel options to choose from, in both width and diameter. 285/40 in the front, with 20-inch rims. 295/35 in the rear, with 21-inch rims. All wheels will have performance tires. For reference, the quickest accelerating car at this time, the 9.8-second quarter-mile, 2025 Lucid Air Sapphire, has 295 rear tires as well. Behind the tires there are massive brakes to slow this 5,400-pound vehicle. The front rotors are 16 inches affixed to 6-piston calipers, and the rear rotors are 15.7 inches. For the record, there are cars still sold around the world with 15-inch rims. The brakes on the new M5 are bigger than the actual wheel size on some economy cars. Information garage. The $1 million Bugatti Veyron 16.4 has smaller brakes than this new M5. The Veyron had 15.8 in front and 15-inch in the rear. In regards to weight savings that will be imperceptible to the driver, BMW offers M-carbon ceramic brakes that remove a minuscule 55 pounds from the car's weight and are painted in gold instead of red or blue. The interior of the new 2025 BMW M5 incorporates a new unified dash design, and its layout is reminiscent of most recent BMW vehicles. To the dismay of many, there are less buttons as the digital interface takes care of the radio, ventilation, and much more. Hopefully, soon, due to new European laws, more car makers will go back to conventional physical knobs and buttons, as using a digital interface is very distracting and muscle memory cannot be used as effectively. The dash is very modern, linear, and clean, and has a multicolored lighting feature that combines model-specific ambient lighting with customization. There will be a new flat-bottom steering wheel with beautifully garnished paddle shifters behind it. The steering wheel will have standard heating. With the remap paddle shifter, a new boost control system has been executed by allowing the driver to simply pull back and hold the left paddle shifter to engage the car into its most racy settings. This is far simpler and faster to turn on than shuffling through countless settings. The steering wheel also has a 12 o'clock marker, harkening that BMW M Motorsport look. There will also be standard Bowers and Wilkins sound systems in all M5s along with a heads-up display. The center console implements a new gear selector design, which is more a toggle rather than a shifter. The iDrive control panel area is also present, with beautiful and amazing shortcut buttons. In this version of BMW's innovative iDrive system, version 8.5 has further migrated functionality to the screen while removing buttons. Again, hopefully, car manufacturers revert to having tactile buttons once again. For the roof, a panoramic roof will be standard, while a full carbon fiber roof is optional, which will shave off a few unnoticeable 66 pounds from the car's weight. The new M5 will also have a 4-zone climate control. As for the dash-mounted screens, the 2025 BMW M5 will have BMW's curved display, which houses 2 separate screens in one unit. There is a 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster and a 14.9-inch, touch-enabled, infotainment screen. And both screens are very sharp, crystal clear, extremely legible to read, and have a very high pixel density, making all the visible graphics extremely eye-pleasing. Now that you've seen the exterior and the interior, what does the new M5 look like to you? In my humble opinion, the front is seemingly inspired by a venomous viper, and the seats kind of remind me of a cobra, especially in this shade of green. No? For the dimensions and weight, the new M5 has noticeably grown quite a bit. The 2025 M5 will be 200.6 inches in length, 77.6 inches in width, and 59.4 inches in height. It is 4 inches longer and 3 inches wider than before. Even though this representation is not valid, within that 4-inch and 3-inch added space, BMW has found a way to add over 1,000 pounds of weight. Does this mean that the current base 5 Series has this much unused space? Please note that a short decade ago, the full-size 2015 BMW 750i was smaller than the current 2025 M5, and it weighed about 800 pounds less. But the new M5 weighs well over 5,000 pounds. BMW states that the new 2025 BMW M5 is in the neighborhood of 5,400 pounds. What other cars are about 5,400 pounds? Here are some examples of vehicles in the 5,400 pound range. Notice their size and shape. From full-size trucks to SUVs. And the new M5 weighs more than a fully electric vehicle. Honestly, I can't stop thinking about how often the tires will need to be changed the moment spirited driving is done. For the engine, it will be powered by a twin-turbo 4.4-liter S68 V8 mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission which has an electric motor nestled inside. Note, even though this engine is found in the not-so-visually appealing BMW XM, in the M5, there are both software and hardware differences. The cooling system, steering system, and exhaust are different, to name a few. The engine alone, in America, develops 577 horsepower and 553 pound-feet of torque, with a 7,200 RPM redline. In America, the electric motor develops 192 horsepower and 207 pound-feet of torque. The motor is energized by a usable 14.8 kilowatt per hour from an 18.6 kilowatt per hour battery pack, which can yield roughly about 25 to 40 or so miles of gasoline-free, pure electric driving range, and while in electric mode only, the new M5 can go up to 87 miles per hour. Combined, in America, the BMW M5 has a total system output of 717 horsepower and 738 pound-feet of torque. And being a plug-in hybrid, the torque will feel like an endless surge, a never-stopping tidal wave of power, surging the driver forward to V max. As the adage made famous by the automotive legend Carroll Shelby goes, horsepower sells cars, torque wins races. Basically, based on where or how the car is driven, smashing the accelerator to the floor and keeping it there for about 9 to 20 seconds, then horsepower is the winner here. For the smooth tectonic plate moving surge, torque is the victor. This means that it will be sufficiently quick to 60, but when it is asked to go from 15 miles per hour to 125 miles per hour, it will most likely show 15, then 18 and 25 and 32 in a flash, as it shoots from 32 to 43 to 51 to 67, then to 78 and 91 and 105, all within the blink of an eye. Think torque. Basically, the engine and hybrid setup generate 16% more power, but also add a hefty 24% more weight, resulting in slower times in many measured performance tests. On a happier note, the electric motor setup will provide consistent power across the rev range, which will make gear changes less noticeable while the car is galloping forward with urgency. On a side note, since we know that in the 2022 BMW M5 CS, this engine was capable of developing about 620 to 630 horsepower, it would be safe to assume that perhaps in the future, if BMW chooses to keep this 1,000-pound baby elephant powertrain in future and upcoming M5 variants, it may very well develop 740 to 760 horsepower. Please note, all versions are all-wheel drive, with the ability to be rear-wheel drive if desired. Addressing the PHEV question, most people purchasing a car that sells for well over $100,000 are unfazed by gasoline prices, electricity prices, nor what the fuel efficiency is. For the new 2025 BMW M5, the fuel efficiency is most likely worse than the previous version, since it needs to lug around an extra 1,000 pounds at all times. The comments made earlier hold true here as well. Ultimately, remember, as the saying goes, your mileage may vary. For the performance aspect, due to its ungainly additional weight gain of around 1,000 pounds, the suspension, cooling, braking, dampers, bounce and jounce calibration, struts, steering tuning needed to be changed to handle the sheer mass. It has full-time all-wheel drive and rear-wheel steering is present as well, hoping to offset the mass to a degree, helping the driver feel as though the vehicle is more agile by up to 1.5 degrees. This all-wheel drive system not only splits between the front and rear drivetrain, but with active M differential, it can also manage power distribution between each of the rear tires, further enhancing the sure-footed nature of a super sedan's performance on windy roads. Doing so, it can send power to an individual wheel to help counteract the effects of understeer while driving quickly and carving through canyon roads. According to BMW, which usually underpromises and overdelivers, the new 2025 BMW M5 will go from 0 to 60 in 3.4 seconds. And, with the M Drivers package, the top speed is in the neighborhood of 190 miles per hour, rather than the more ordinary 155. For the fans out there, this is clearly slower than the phenomenal laser-focused performance in the 2022 M5 CS. With all the techno-wizardry, the new M5 may behave very raucous like the E46 while simultaneously act very subdued and unbothered, kinda like a battleship. It could in fact be similar to an E46 in regards to its composure when going through the twisties, especially with all the electronics helping out and like a bullet train on the straights. Although they may or may not act like direct competitors, they kind of play in the same sandbox, so people may consider cross-shopping between them. The incredible and stylish Audi RS6 Avant, the great grandson of the Hammer, the rocket-like Mercedes-AMG E63S, and the deceivingly quick and agile for its size Porsche Panamera Turbo E-Hybrid. For the pricing, in keeping up with the times of ever-increasing prices, increasing payments, increasing debt, increasing rates, BMW has priced the new 2025 M5 plug-in hybrid at about $120,000. This is the single most complex powertrain fitted to an M-branded vehicle, and it will be available after October 2024. As with the 16% increase in power, this represents a 16% increase price as well. And before I conclude this video, I would like to know which model year is your favorite. It has a vast history behind it, and after 7 generations of giving us awesome performance and incredible daring innovations, which is the favorite one? The original progenitor, the E28, the E34, the E39 which has a timeless design and well-balanced everything, the E60 with its screaming sonorous soundtrack, the F10 with its handsome appearance, the F90 which has the incredible CS version, or the new G90 which is a techno lover's dream. Will this be a heart-based decision or a head-based one? Personally, choosing the E39, F10, and F90 CS would be very difficult and complex, but ultimately, I feel as though the F90 CS would edge over the others as its performance would be enough to convince many. And now, for some of my final thoughts. Where can I start? This is the largest, the heaviest, the most complex, and the most powerful BMW M5 ever. The BMW M5 has been a nameplate in the automotive industry for over 40 years. For 40 years, this car has been refined, improved, sold as a sedan and as a wagon, has had 6 cylinders, 8 cylinders, 10-cylinder engines, has been a high-performance sedan in every measure, and is an all-around great car, giving owners 90 to 95% of the supercar performance for about 55 to 65% of the price. The phenomenal and potent and wickedly quick 2022 M5 CS was a unicorn, and it weighed about 1,300 pounds less than this 2025 version. The F10 M5 was handsome and well-proportioned. The E39, well, it's a forever fan favorite. The G30, it introduced all-wheel drive and so much more in performance. The E60, with its screaming V10. The E28, being the progenitor of all M5s to follow. Honestly, what can I say about this wonderful, incredible, and amazing history? It is hard to knock or discourage or judge a car when it has not come out yet, but basing my thoughts from BMW's history, the M Division's ethos, the history of performance with famous quotes mentioned earlier, it is very difficult for me to ignore the 1,000-pound weight gain and all the numerous other implications it will affect. 1,000 extra pounds on the suspension, 1,000 extra pounds on the tires, 1,000 extra pounds to carry at all times, especially when the battery is depleted and purposely not charged, 1,000 extra pounds of mass to have during spirited driving, 1,000 extra pounds to make this newer version have a worse power-to-weight ratio than the outgoing model. 1,000 extra pounds is a lot. A lot. Considering the max torque at 0 RPM from electric motors, hopefully there is some salvation there in terms of response time. The new 2025 BMW M5 will surely have a roomy interior cabin, all modern-day techno-wizardry with screens and connectivity and breathtaking performance. And in the most neutral and non-biased way, my main concern is, will this powertrain even make a dent in the grand scheme of things? To invoke more thought about all these changes, wouldn't the increased size and weight bring with it increased brake rotors in order to stop the added mass? Which then, doing so increases wheel size in most cases to accommodate the rotors, which then adds more unsprung weight, which also may affect cabin noise due to low-profile tires. Once again, thank you so much for watching. I hope this was useful, helpful, informative, and worth your time. And if there is anything I can do to improve these videos, please let me know in the comments section. As always, I sincerely thank you in advance for your support.